This week, for the first time in more than a year, is Morgan Wallen. How are you?
I'm doing good. How you doing,
Good, man. It is so great to have you here because this almost didn't happen. Last weekend, you were supposed to begin the new tour, and then the ice and the snow hit, and you had to cancel a couple shows, and you were going to go from those shows to New York City and Madison Square Garden for a couple of shows, so you're going to go there. And then, like I said, the ice and snow hit. Canceled, so here we are, and I'm really glad because I'm looking forward to seeing you.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here too. Obviously, it's I wanted to play those shows too, but I know that we've got those rescheduled and back on the books. Hopefully everyone that was planning on coming still gets to get that chance. But that's just kind of what the choice we were left with. It was getting pretty nasty out there, so we just decided to do it. And yeah, it's a little disappointing, but
well,
it is what it is.
You gotta go on the side of safety. Your latest hit, top 5 right now, Sand in My Boots. Tell me about the first time you heard this.
Yeah, Hardy actually sent it to me on my birthday.
What a present!
Yeah, it was. Yeah, no kidding. And I knew it was special. The first listen, just a work tape on his phone. A voice memo. There was no production, no nothing. Just him and Ashley and Josh singing.
And I'm curious to interrupt you for a second. The first line leads me to ask: did they write this for you specifically, or did you change it to include the little town outside of Knoxville?
Well, yeah, I think he had originally put Jackson in there or something. He put his Mississippi thing on it, but I don't know. It seems like he wrote it for me. I mean, he sent it to me, I think, the day that he wrote it. I don't know. I never did ask him if he specifically wrote it for me, if they just wrote it. Knowing Hardy, he probably just wrote it, and then at the end was like, I think Morgan should have this, maybe.
So did it come to you with Knoxville in the lyrics?
No, it came to me with Jackson, and then like the chorus.
You changed it. Okay.
The chorus said Mississippi instead of Eastern Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
So certain things, that I'm obviously not going to sing just because it's not.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah,
I love it.
But yeah, I mean, I as soon as he sent me that. Obviously, when Hardy sends me something, I'm gonna listen. But this one felt super special, and to hear it raw and just on the piano, the way that it was in the voice memo, I just felt like it should stay similar to that, and we tried to keep it, pretty close to that.
I want to talk about something that you took part in last July here. I think it was actually the first concert that I had attended since COVID began, and that was the Luke Bryan show here in Nashville last July. Luke brought out Tyler Hubbard, then Jason Aldean, and then you. I've probably seen 10,000 concerts in my lifetime. I don't remember anything as loud as when you came out.
Yeah, I just got chill bumps thinking about it.
Me too.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a special. It's like I knew it was going to be big because the fans, as you saw by the sales of your album when it came out, have always been there with you. So I was not surprised, but I don't think I expected that.
Same. I wasn't nervous for the fans. I've always, felt really comfortable and thankful for them. But yeah, they definitely overwhelmed me with that response. It was awesome.
Did it take you back for a second?
Yeah, it definitely did.
Yeah? Just pause a second?
Yeah, I did. You just try to, after so long of, everything going on, I just wanted to feel the joy of that moment. It was really, really, really great.
To be honest, when I was talking to Luke, he was here a couple of weeks after that concert, and I asked him just if he had any concerns for either himself or Jason or Tyler about you being on that show. And here's what he said.
Yeah, I mean, I was wondering, do we do that to Morgan? Do we do that to me? Is Morgan ready? Am I ready to potentially hear some fallout? And the most beautiful part of the night, which I'm totally letting you guys, the fans, and you, Lon, I huddled Tyler and Jason up before the show, and I said, guys, what do y'all want to do? Because when we get Morgan out, we know the news stories are going to go flying. And we were all three said, hell yes, let's get him up.
That's definitely Luke, man. He's been a good friend to me for a long while now. Hell, so is Jason and Tyler. They've both been good to me as well. It was something I just found out that Luke was playing. I hadn't even, I think I just wore what I had. Like, I don't even think I got really dressed up for it. I didn't even get dressed up for it or anything. And then I was talking to Carrie Edwards, his manager, and I said, hey, I saw Luke's playing. I may come by and watch, if that's okay. And she was like, yeah, that's all, that's fine. And, when I get there and Luke's like, hey, buddy, you want to sing one? I'm like, yeah, I would love to. So we ended up singing a couple. But, yeah, I mean, I'm with him. There was a little bit of nervousness for me and also for him. I didn't want to put him in a bad spot. Obviously I don't want to put anyone in a bad spot. So he asked me, and that was a no-brainer for me.
Morgan Wallen along as our countdown co-host this week. We talked at the top of the show that originally we weren't going to be able to get together, but then you had a couple shows canceled due to the ice and snow in Evansville and Allentown. And that was going to be a warm-up to heading 2 shows in Madison Square Garden. And as we talk, it's the Monday before, so you haven't done those yet. But I thought, oh, man, it's like starting at 180 miles an hour instead of ramping up with a couple of shows. And it's like starting your year at the Daytona 500, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, they all feel like the Daytona 500 to me. For me, Evansville is just as much pressure as Madison Square Garden. It doesn't make no difference. I know the icon that Madison Square Garden is, but they're the same fans that fill those buildings that they are in Evansville. So I'm going to put the same effort for it there that I would have in Evansville.
Sounds like it's going to be great fun.
Yeah, I'm sure it will be.
You're really chomping the bit.
I am.
A little bit ago, we talked about the Luke Bryan concert here in Nashville last July when he had you out on stage as a special guest. Also there was Jason Aldean, who came in to do the countdown not too long afterwards, and of course we talked about that night.
So when I walked in, Luke said, hey, I think Morgan's coming tonight too. What do you think about getting him up with us? And I'm like, yes, absolutely we should. And he goes, all right. And so Tyler came out, then I came out, and man, I'll tell you this, when we announced that Morgan was coming out, I've been on stage pretty much my whole life. And I don't think that I've ever heard a crowd pop the way that happened when he walked on stage. So it was it was a really special night, man. It was a cool moment, night, and it was a lot of fun.
So he agrees. It was loud.
We're all in agreement. It was loud and fun.
So what was it like after the show backstage? Did you hang around after the whole thing, or did you?
Yeah. We all talked and hung out for a little bit, before everyone headed home. But I mean, it was just a lot of that same thing, just smiles and talking about how special that was. I mean, I've never experienced anything like that, especially not with my friends, not on stage. So you don't know when anything's going to happen like that again. You don't even know when you're going to get a chance to be on stage together again. So it was just it just felt like we were all really trying to live in that moment for a little while afterwards.
And we'll talk more about it later. But after what you had been through in last year, what did that say to you about the fans?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, I don't know, I feel like they understand me. I feel like they understand my heart, that my heart is not the way that some people try to paint it to be. Obviously there's things that I would take back or I would do differently, but there's certain things that people try to make me out to be that I know that I'm not. And I think that my fans and country music fans in general agree with that.
Hardy, of course, is out with you on the Dangerous Tour this year. Had a hand in writing a number of songs on your album, including Sand in My Boots. Now, how far back do you go with Hardy?
Yeah, me and Hardy, we've been friends for a while, too. I'd say it's probably 2017. We just had someone scheduled us a write together, me, him, and Jameson Rogers, actually. And, there's a couple people that just stood out to me, but no one like him. No one stood out to me like he did. So I just knew immediately that there was something really, really special.
What is it? What is it?
I don't know. It's hard to put it into words. It's just something God gave him. I don't know exactly what it is. I mean, his way with words is just so effortless. And, and for me, I like to think that I'm a decent songwriter, and I get to feed off that, and it makes my job easier. Anytime you surround yourself with other talented people, it just makes everything so much more simple. Mm-hmm. And I think that's why, that I've been really fortunate to get around guys like him and Ernest and other folks that I really feed off of. Yeah.
I want to talk about Dierks a little bit, because you guys did a benefit show together last year, flood relief for Nashville, that you raised like $725,000. That's incredible.
Yeah, man. I had the idea. I just saw a couple things on the news that were just broke my heart. So I immediately reached out to my team, said, hey, you think we could throw something together real fast? I'll start reaching out to whoever and see if they can do it. Dierks was one of the first people I reached out to. He was in automatically. I really appreciated him doing that, it was really, really short notice. I mean, it was like 5 or 6 days, something like that, that we threw that show together in. Mm-hmm. Yeah, just obviously a terrible, catastrophic event that was really close to here. You know, it didn't affect me personally, but I saw it, you know, and got to hear some stories, and just wanted to do you know, as much as I could to help in a quick amount of time to get them some support that they needed.
That's great. That's fabulous. And I think, you know, when you reach a certain level of being famous, that's the kind of stuff you need to do.
Yeah,
think,
no doubt. You know, I guess I'm still it's still weird to think about that I have that kind of, you know, that kind of reach, that kind of power to help. But yeah, I definitely want to do good things with it.
I love it. Up next, the latest from Eric Church, and of course we've got to talk about Eric.
Yeah,
played some shows with Eric. I think you did one here in Nashville. Was it the soft opening of Justin Timberlake's club here in town? You and Eric played.
Yeah,
and then I saw some video too of Eric's show in Philadelphia, and he brought you out on stage, and you guys have a song together on your album Dangerous called "Quitting Time." So it sounds like you guys are getting to be buddies.
Yeah, we are. You know, it's been I don't know exactly when it was that we started hanging out. We went on a golf trip together and ended up fishing during the golf trip. But obviously our games weren't too good. But no, we did both. We went on a golf trip, and I kind of started developing.
What a trip!
Yeah, it was awesome. But yeah, we started hanging out then. You know, we started. I don't know. We just became buddies. I guess we kind of have a similar attitude or whatever it is. You know, I know that he doesn't really publicly come out and have a lot of buddies, you know, so it's and he's always been like my country music hero. You know, he's one of the main reasons that I sing country music. Some of his songs, when I first really started getting heavily into country music, it was his songwriting and the way that he painted pictures that made me want to do the same. So it's really cool to consider him an actual friend now. I've just always admired him. You know, I saw him in Knoxville when I was living in that area. I saw him in 2014, so a year before I moved here, and I just saw his passion, and it was just, you know, there was just something different about the way that he approached the whole thing, and you could just feel how much it meant to him. You know, it's unreal to me. You know, to think about that. You know, at 8 years ago, that 20-year-old kid sitting in Thompson Bowling Arena just being so in tune with what he was doing, you know, and so fired up. It's pretty crazy to think 8 years later, or 7 years later, I guess at that point, that I'm up there on that same stage, you know, with him, and getting to share in those moments with him. So it was. I think he knows. I hope he knows how much that meant to me.
I spent a week recently in Phoenix, and there are two great country radio stations in Phoenix. Listen to them both a lot.
That's the first time I ever heard my song on the radio was in Phoenix.
Really?
I'll never forget it.
Well, I'll tell you what. I probably heard Whiskey Glasses 50 times in a week between those two stations.
Probably.
You know, I mean, it was like, whoa.
It seems like it's one of those songs that's just going to be around, you know, on the radio, and just obviously in my career, it's going to be around forever.
Yeah, well, that's what was amazing too. The place where I work, Country Air Check, we compile a yearly list of just the top gold records, not the current music. And Whiskey Glasses is number one. It's the most played gold song. So
that's pretty wild.
But that's got to feel good too. Just again, looking back at the last year, the way the radio has really come back to play your music as much or more than ever.
Yeah, it has. You know, obviously, whenever everything's going on, you worry about, you know, is everything gonna ever be, you know, the way it was, or are people gonna just completely shun me? You know, you don't know. So it's been awesome to see. It's really felt good to me. So I appreciate it.
And a little bit, I want to talk about just what you've been through in this past year. But I want to take you back to that Luke Bryan concert we've talked to a bunch of times, and sitting there watching after you were done with your solo shot. There was a cooler on stage, and Luke and Tyler and Jason, you were all out there and having some beers and having fun. And it was so cool to see.
Yeah, it was. I mean, obviously I was pointed out toward the crowd, and they're sitting behind me, but you know, you look back a little bit and you see some of these people who have been doing it for a lot longer than you, who you look up to, who you support. You see them back behind you, just, you know, showing that kind of love and that kind of support for you. It was a special night for me, for sure.
I guess it was Luke who said, "I've never had more fun in my life," and I believed him when he said it. All you guys looked like you were having a good time.
Yeah, it was definitely up there on my most fun moments, no doubt. Cool.
up next at 4 is Jimmie Allen along with Brad Paisley. And as I understand it, Jimmy reached out to you in the last year.
Yeah.
Chatted a little bit. That had to feel good just to get
No doubt.
his support.
Yeah, me and Jimmy have been friends pretty much ever since we met, and we stay in contact constantly. I actually saw him at the mall the other day. That's the last time I saw him. But yeah, I've been friends with Jimmy for a while, and he publicly came to my defense and, had nothing but, obviously, he wanted me to be accountable, but he knows me, he knows that's not who I am. So he's been really, really awesome to me, and I appreciate his friendship a whole lot.
We now come to your song at number 3, Sand in My Boots. So what was it that got you right away in this song?
Just a story, I think, it just immediately pulled me into what was going on.
How do you handle this in your show?
Well, so far, last fall, I was opening the show with it, which was, I think, pretty unexpected, for
you at the piano?
Just me and the piano.
Oh, wow.
Opening it. And I'll probably keep that up, just trying to look for different ways to incorporate it. But I'm so used to running out and acting rowdy. It's just a completely different, I think people have a lot of different expectations for how I'm going to open it, but I like that, it gives me a chance. It kind of gives me a chance to just look around and, take and breathe a little bit and just say hey to everyone and just take in the moment of what's going on.
I really want to talk to you about the last year and going forward, kind of where you're at, how you're feeling, and just kind of, I guess, the place you're at right now in terms of what you've learned about yourself in the last year, kind of what you did to learn more. Because obviously all human here, we all make mistakes.
Right.
Most of us are lucky enough to not make our mistakes in public.
Yeah.
But what are some of the things that maybe you've done in the past year that you look back and go, wow, that was really an important part of my process?
Yeah, I think just trying to reflect as much as I can on myself and my behavior. I think no matter what my intentions were or whatever, was the situation, I know that I've realized that the position that I'm in, I have a lot of influence, and a lot of my words carry a lot of weight. I didn't always know that, but over the last year or so, I've definitely learned that. It's just important what I say, and no matter how I'm in it or who was around me or who is accepting of it or who's not, if there's one person that can be offended by my words or that I can negatively impact someone's life, I think I've realized that that's not okay. I know I've realized that that's not okay. But there's been a lot of people who have been really kind and gracious to me. I'm not going to go on a name mentioning tour right now or anything like that. But there's been a lot of people behind the scenes who have made me want to do good and be better. I got a son who I want to be a good role model for. Most importantly, I was lucky enough to have a great dad who I got to look up to growing up, and a great mom. So I want to make sure that I follow in those footsteps and be someone he can be proud of. Yeah, I think I'm just trying to continue to be better every day and not let everything that I hear, get in the way of that. I know that a lot of people have a lot of opinions of me, and I'm never going to probably get everyone back just based off just what happened. But I'm going to do everything that I know how to do to make sure that over the course of time and over the course of my career that one mistake is not what defines me.
Right.
That's not who I am. I'm not gonna let that be the case. Everyone can say whatever they want to, but I'm going to continue to live my life and to do things that show that that's not the man that I am or the man that I want to be, and that's all I know to do.